So another important point here about centering and how it relates to both martial arts training and to healthcare practices, specifically ones which you are face to face with the client or the patient, or which you are, you're manipulating their body in some way with acupuncture or chiropractic or massage or, shiatsu or whatever it is. You're making physical contact with them, or even you're just sitting face to face with them. So yeah, martial arts training, and then the healthcare, healing, so to speak, which it's, whatever. And then just being around, being able to be around, negative people or even aggressive people, or specifically negativity, being able to be around negativity in whatever form it is, a depressed person or a person who's upset and just is, and it might not be their fault, but they're just, because of the state of mind that they're in, they're naturally going to be depleting other people's energy. So in all these cases, like the principle of centering and grounding is very important. So how that relates to martial arts, for instance, martial arts training. So what does centering, what does it actually mean, right? Why is it important as a principle? It's not just about being balanced and grounded. I guess grounding is kind of the same, but a little sort of another side to it. Grounding is a lot about body alignment and how to bring the power up from the ground and perform a martial arts technique, or if you're a massage therapist or chiropractor, you're able to get the right leverage, the leverage that you need, or able to apply pressure to the patient, or whatever the case may be, in such a way that you can direct the force through your structure without injuring yourself, without without spraining a muscle, or what do you call that? Repetitive work injury. So I think you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. So grounding is largely about coordination of the body, and perhaps also developing sort of more subtle internal martial arts type of skills in the body, types of qualities. But the important point about centering is that if you are properly centered, then you can listen to your opponent, or you're able to observe them, whether that's you're listening to them audibly, or you're observing them with your eyes, or with your gaze. Your gaze is not fixed on them. If your gaze is sort of more fixed on them, then you're no longer as centered as you would be, as if you would just be aware of them through your peripheral vision, right? Through your peripheral vision, and just being aware of them and sort of observing and being centered at the same time. That means you're aware. You're basically aware of what's going on, but you're not being pulled off balance. As soon as you basically depends on how good you are, but generally, as soon as you make eye contact with someone, then yeah, maybe you can psych them out and throw them off balance or out of their emotional baseline, or you just throw them off balance in some way, but they're going to be able to do it to you to you too, right? So the better way is if you're able to be centered and just observe, and then adjust your body or your mindset or your approach according to what you're observing. The same way, the same thing would apply to listening, and the same thing applies to tactile sensitivity, meaning your sense of touch, right? So, for instance, in martial arts like Tai Chi pushing hands is a very good example, right? If we're both doing pushing hands, I want to be centered. I want to be grounded. That's very important. I have to have the grounding, the coordination, the body alignment, the relaxation, the softness, the fluid kinetic chain. All of that stuff is basically through grounding. But I want to be able to be centered, right, at the same time. So as I touch hands with you, or I touch to your body, and I listen through my sensitivity what's going on, and I change my body accordingly, right? And basically the same would apply to pretty much any martial arts training method, or a lot of them, even in jiu-jitsu, or perhaps it also applies to like sword fighting, Japanese sword fighting, or whatever the case may be, right? Like I think you understand. So that applies. That is very important in healthcare as well, to be able to be aware of a person's energy state, their emotions, whether they're negative or positive or whatever it is, and being able to be aware of it and adjust your treatment method accordingly, but without becoming attached to it, and then that changing your emotional state or depleting your energy. And in doing so, that's going to have that's going to you're not going to be able to have as accurate, as good a treatment method, because you've now you've basically been pulled off center in some way by becoming emotionally involved with their energy state, or their. We don't need to say it in such an esoteric way. We just want to keep it in grounded, practical understanding here, right? So that applies. That then is what Mr. Lars right here needs to take into consideration in my training of what I'm developing. And in that way, it's probably going to have a much more positive effect on the people around me, even if the people around me who are negative, emotionally, unbalanced or negative in some way. Me, by being centered and grounded and being aware of those states and not getting emotionally caught up in it, but being perfectly centered, understanding the quality of the heart quality or the mind quality, or whatever the quality is that I need in my body in order to be perfectly centered and just be aware and not be pulled off balance. And if there's someone around me who's negative, and then when they become aware that I'm not being pulled off balance by their tendency to perhaps try maybe unintentionally or intentionally or subconsciously or whatever, put me down for being positive or whatever. if I'm perfectly centered and just aware and not being pulled off balance, then I can be centered, I can be grounded, then I can do my practice like way more efficiently. It's going to help myself better. It's going to be better even for the negative people around me, even though I'm not even directly like trying to help them, right? So I guess that kind of connects with another point about Reiki. Okay, Reiki, which is Reiki, they call it healing, right? And the point here is not to, criticize or put people down who do, energy transfer in a way, right? The only problem with, if there is a problem, there can be a problem, which just, like, I think people probably are aware of it, and maybe they need to be more aware of it, but whatever. When you do energy transfer to another person, there's always going to be there's always an equal and opposite reaction. It's just physics. There's going to be something coming back through, and it's very hard unless you are able to basically build up your own vitality and be in a very good state of health and abundance of energy and vitality yourself, and at the same time stay very centered, okay, when this is being done. I'm pretty sure that any person, whether they're, let's just say they're a Reiki master or whatever, or whatever it is, when as a Reiki healing practitioner, if you're you'll be aware, like if you're around a person and if you feel yourself being pulled off center, getting emotionally involved with them, whether, doesn't matter whether it's a positive emotion or a negative emotion, as soon as you're being involved with that, you're getting quantumly entangled with them in some way, right? So I'm pretty sure the Reiki healer practitioner people are aware of that. Hopefully they have some methods to take that into consideration and what they do. So Grok, please look into that for me, Grok, and you can explain if they take that into consideration, or if perhaps there are too many cases in Reiki healing of people being pulled off center by patients in that way, and not being properly centered. But anyway, I'm no one to criticize anyone else's practice or whatever way other people want to go about their lives and their practice and whatever they do. I'm just pretty much just concerned with myself here. But anyway, for interest's sake, Grok, you can go ahead and process that and look into that.